Welcome back from The Breather. Joining me in studio is our very own Noella Karanieli, who is an entertainment presenter on Hits FM, Joy FM, and JoyNews. We also have Sadiq Abdullahi Abu, who is the CEO of 3 Music Awards.
Yeah.
And joining us via Zoom is Prince Chega, also known as The Don. He's also our very own entertainment pundit. Lexus Bill, Drive Time host, will also be joining us later. Oh, wow, he's here. Yes. So, good morning, gentlemen and lady.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for coming, guys.
Thank you too.
All right, now, Noella, let's start with you.
Okay.
The virus, the coronavirus. Yes. Was it a blessing or a curse for the entertainment industry?
Well, first of all, Mavs, thanks for having me on your interactive show, and a lovely day to our viewers as well. So I'd begin my argument by saying that, by daring to actually say that the showbiz industry was hit the hardest by the COVID-19 pandemic. I mean, when you look at the entertainment calendar every year, it's the most packed. I mean, there are shows that you know it's conk. In January, there are shows that you know that would come up in February, March, all the way till December. So there are shows like that. Then we have the maiden ones, those shows that took organizers months, years to even get, sponsors to put your signature on proposals, the time invested, the effort, the back and forth. And finally, you are able to get, this signature on this proposal, and a virus from nowhere shows its head, and restrictions disallow you from bringing your dreams into reality. That's quite, disheartening. And then in this age that we see a lot of artists, adapt to that business idea of organizing their own concerts here and there. Artists who weren't able to, release their albums, their EPs, songs, go on tours and all. I mean, really, when you think about all of these, you'd know that it has been not a blessing to us. We've been hit the hardest by it. And you really can't fault the government for some restrictions they imposed on, certain things or the showbiz industry, because they have the prime responsibility of ensuring that, citizens are safe, okay? But in as much as they have the prime responsibility of ensuring our safety, there are people that, it's imperative to note that there are people that depend on entertaining people for their, checks or their paychecks. There's people that know, the only thing that they know how to do best is to sing, is to perform, is to act, is to direct. And so to have their food being taken off your table is quite a disheartening stuff to go through. But going into 2021, we're hoping for the best already. We're seeing some of the restrictions being, gradually eased, and we are appreciative of that. But we're hoping that in 2021, we will be able to go about our normal lives, being cautious and
All right. So let me bring in Drive Time host Lexus Bill. 2020, how different was it hosting the show? Do you have Lexus?
Yeah.
Okay. Lexus, if you can hear me, how different was it hosting the Drive Time show during the pandemic?
The next thing is, sorry, you were about to say something.
Okay, we'll get back to Lexus. I think we've lost some connection. Sadiq, let me bring you in here. Corona's not going anywhere.
Yeah.
It's as of now. We have it. What are some of the lessons you think artists should take into 2021?
Well, I mean, I think that it's almost becoming a broken record to talk about what has been promoted or said a lot more times, which is the new normal, and they need to adapt. I think that one of the lessons that it's taught us, or it's teaching us going into 2021, is the need to adapt, and then most importantly, the need to make the most of whatever situation that is thrown at you or at us. We've seen some attempts to, take advantage of the situation, even though it's not been heavily commercially viable. But it still looks like the only avenue or availability to at least survive. I mean, the impact of Corona or the pandemic to the world. And so going forward, I think that a lot more of that would happen, and most importantly, we would have to begin to look at a lot more new ways to experiment and to really take advantage of what the situation is, currently.
Okay, so talking about new ways, I'll come back so we talk about virtual concerts and how viable they are. Let me go back to Zoom. Do we have the Don?
Yeah, I'm right here.
Okay, so Don, tell us, what are some of the lessons you think our artists should learn from 2020?
I believe that they need to recreate themselves in terms of production. Right? I believe that COVID-19 has shown us that you need to plug into certain other quarters. You need to be strong on social media to generate some revenue for yourself. Most of these artists are used to the analog way of doing things, like getting personal contacts with people. Only few of them, the big ones, know the way out through social media. And I believe that now that is a trend we have to toe, simply because we can't do things physically as we used to do before. We now have to go virtual. Some of them have virtually no following when it comes to social media. I believe that some of them now need to start putting together their act and make sure that their management builds some kind of fan base for them to be able to stream. Now, people say that Samini fans don't stream, they don't go on social media, that's why he's on the low. People say Sarkodie, Stoneboy, and Shatawale fans go online a lot. This is something I picked up. And I believe that by extension, it goes to some other artists who are out there. And for me, I think that right now with COVID-19, we must all aim at doing a virtual show. We must all aim at getting very strong in the cyber world. That is one major artist lesson that I think I must drum home to them.
All right, so Sadiq, let's talk about virtual concerts. Is it something lucrative in this part of the world? Data is extremely expensive. Network is not so good. Is it viable?
Well, across the world, you need to look at it also because of it's enabled by internet and it's accessible to a global audience. Across the world, we are still finding models or proper relevant financial or commercial models for virtual concert. It's not proven to be as commercially viable as at yet. But obviously, one of the things you would look at it from is that you look at it beyond the primary market audience. For every Ghanaian artist or creative, your primary market is Ghana and its extension into the diaspora. There's an extension of Ghana into the diaspora, right? But beyond the diasporan audience, there's also a global audience that it throws you to. But for musicians in particular, one of the things it can help them to do is it can help them to activate the music and activate their brand in the ways that it can rub off their streams, their digital streams, which is essentially their sales, which provides the sales avenue for their primary products, which is the music that they do. But yes, virtual concerts have not been profitable as yet. The only way it can be profitable is when we can get the same level of corporate support or partnerships in about the same way we used to have it for mainstream main events before Corona. That's the only way. But in the ways it works, you're saying that the COVID impact has also impacted the corporate organizations. So the marketing budget cuts and a whole lot of things. Plans are changing and a whole lot of things. So you're not getting that corporate support. That's step one. And then obviously you'd have to expand on your own. In furtherance, now you'd have to use it in furtherance of something. So more or less like a marketing or business development activity, and not necessarily as an avenue to make money per se. But with time, and the more we adapt, the more the audience in the primary market and its extension to the diaspora audience and the global audience adapts and fully be sucked into what the situation is going forward. It's likely it may be profitable, but it's still a long way to go to profitability. And so the losses would have to happen, but it's become a necessary evil. There isn't much you can do because it's still very difficult to get people to really pay up and say, we want to watch this. That's step one. And beyond that as well, it's not as if they can buy e-tickets and say, okay, I'm buying an e-ticket from the comfort of my home to enjoy it. They are used to things being thrown at them because obviously they're having to expend on data and then now they have to spend and there's one part we also need to understand. As much as we try to keep virtual experiences as exciting or close to live experiences as much as possible, it is not live. The live experience is way better. So if you realize that in this December, you've seen a lot of people striving to really go out there regardless of the dangers it poses. you know, there seem to have been some relaxation of the rules, obviously in selective, but you see that it's like a push. It's like water. The water when the water hits a wall, right, and then it's not moving, and it comes a whole lot. When you open it a bit, it just gushes out like that. That's how it's like, because people are really waiting and looking forward for the live experiences, because trust me, the live experiences would way be better than virtual experiences, no matter how close we try to make it seem. So that's another part of it that we need to look at. Ultimately, the best we can continue to pray for is to wish and pray for Corona or COVID-19 to go away. Yeah. But if it doesn't, it leaves us with few relevant or commercially viable options. Yeah. I mean, you know, and so, I mean, it's a difficult space, but beyond that, in other countries, there's been a lot of advocacy and a lot of call by the states and then the corporate organizations to help out. I mean, in the United States, for example, they've passed a bill called the HITS. They've passed a number of bills to sort of shore up and push support, because they have what you call, or we also have what you call the gig economy, where there are a lot more people in the system or in the industry today who are self-employed and live from gig to gig. So the sound guy, for instance, who provide the sound or sound engineer, or the guy who come and do the light design for us, for instance, or the guy who just come and design the set, for instance, is most likely self-employed and would have to wait for gig after gig after gig to earn some money. And so we need to begin to look at it from a more beyond a social impact, but more economic, a national economic issue, where people's revenues or people's means, they have been heavily impacted, and it would have a, you know, a rippling effect on other sides of the economy. Okay. Noella, as an entertainment presenter, journalist, you have to go on the ground to get the content for your stories. How difficult has the virus made getting content?
Oh, it's been very difficult, and it was to be expected, because we work with these entertainers. They're the reasons why I have a job, and so if there's a pandemic and they're affected by it, definitely it would affect me as well. I mean, we go on the grounds, we cover events, but these events aren't happening anymore. So really, we are actually very fortunate that, you know, people like Sadiq, you know, he started, you know, the virtual concerts in West, in fact, the whole world. He started the three, last year, for awards. And so we're grateful for, you know, initiatives like that. And so we use, like the internet, we go on the internet, and if there are shows, virtual shows that are showing, we probably take excerpts from social media, and then we play, we make reports out of them, and then we play. So it's been difficult because, you know, sometimes when you go out to these events, you meet the people, and then you have conversations, and that's where news, you know, that's where you get the news. So if you're not going out, how do you, it means that you need to resort and rely solely on social media. So if they aren't doing anything on social media, it means you're stuck.
So does that mean, as entertainment journalists or presenters, we have to now focus on social media, and that's where we get, is that where we're moving to?
Probably we need to, because like I said, we work with these entertainers, and so if because of certain restrictions and COVID-19, we aren't able to go out, meet them, and have these conversations that make news, then we need to resort to what they give us on social media.
Okay. So we've been speaking to a few people on the streets about how COVID-19 has, or how they think COVID-19 has affected the entertainment industry, and this is what they had to say.
Well, it has really affected, personally, my way of celebrating Christmas, because we didn't actually know the sort of this disease. It just happened, and then the restriction from the president and from other countries will not even permit you to do things that you used to do before. You can't be with a lot of friends and family members. You can't even go for events. So Christmas actually shouldn't be as I knew it before. Shouldn't be like indoor something. You know, we go out. Maybe those who want to club will go to club, and all that. But now you don't have access to do those kind of things, and if you are even scared to do that. Even if you have the access, the disease, the virus is still alive. It's still there, so it will restrict you. It has restricted me. The Christmas has been some way, so because there's no joy.
Well, I think Christmas is a day that, I mean, we unite as people, as families, to, I mean, enjoy ourselves. But due to the adverse of the COVID-19, you can see that it has affected virtually all businesses, not only in our country, but around the globe as well. For me personally, I would say that I'm a labor man. I work in an office, and you know, during such times we don't have enough time to go out. So during Christmas breaks and other stuff, we need a lot of time to also go out and then have fun and then unite with our family. And here comes the restriction from government that we shouldn't go to such events, especially the beaches and then all these places that we can have fun. So I think personally it has affected my way of living and then my way of life. So I need to still cope because we don't have anything to say.
Yeah, no crap. Pandemic affected Ghanaians because I say Christmas. I did affecting the crowd brain. Say public gathering. No, I say Christmas there as I do for Asia. And he said pandemic no apma yentimi Asia mu, especially beach ne markets ne many places no yentimi Asia and I will come baby. I just say uno smash ne ade ama first Christmas no ayado baby I say obitimi ko no wontimi nko ade I say obitimi ye no wontimi nye because how sure won ye dia I say we di protocols no so said be ya won so wonya bi one unko beach pop ne ade no ba bebrebe ni nyina o kwa usuro o kwa nso a just o she no smart nso kra o home a enya ensiso so etina ama affect Christmas no sad metimi aka ama Christmas ne de affect no said na esenka eni patimi gi ani sani afia to yen no eswat be say 45% eswat sana me
manage that the COVID no and come baby yes me after all wo yare be so what I say so immune system na say boost no now we use say ehunu nyina fi ehunu na me dem je guso je ko because owo there no matter what it takes that's inevitable to me the Christmas in there COVID na affect me kra to me dem jam na so me jimani because me na oba bi na me jima there so what I say sir
okay yeah we say they affect here kakra because anyone na etimi ko beach ekoji ani kakra me although me pepie sa night club ni ade ba beach there edru esmaze ye kokodware 25 26 ye ko 1st January konti this year no ayentimi ankosa na affect here high kakra ena ye mu bi mo so ana etimi ko beach kra ko ye train kakra ni ade ne bola beach kra ye hu so na mo kra ni ye hwo te affect here high bebre ba de nyame be bia ye boy ho ban se de enkonkofa o ha obi amra ba ha mi rally time no mo ye rally epono kra nchini wo mu no kra mo sima ye ndware ba bi o mo gada na manfo nya yare ne de no mo ye ba epono nchini wo mu no kra ya sizi yare ne kra mo sima ye nkonkondware aha ye pa o mo nya bibi fa ho efiri na esi aka o mo bie ma ne nkodware ye nsuo nchini wo epono nchini wo mu yare anim aha ye pa.
All right, you're still watching JoyNews Interactive, and this is the special edition. We're taking a look at how COVID-19 hits the entertainment industry. We'll also be talking about a few of the highlights in the industry. But let's go to Zoom. Lexus Bill is on. And Lexus, I was asking you earlier how the pandemic has changed the hosting, you hosting the Drive Time show. Like, how different has it been?
Papito, it's been absolutely different. It's been totally different. Nothing I've experienced in 16 years of being on radio. I've got to be honest with you. This year, in the thick of the pandemic, everybody was, I wouldn't say scared, but we're a little nervous. We're unsure. There was so much uncertainty. And whilst everybody was locked down, we in the media had to be working to provide information, to provide entertainment. My field is entertainment. So aside providing information and all of that for people, I had to also entertain them. And actually, it was the period where I had the most listenership because a lot of people were home now. They didn't have to be occupied with shuttling through traffic to work and whatnot. So they were very attentive. But these are the people who are also very uncertain of what's going on. They are unsure. I personally was scared as well. I remember at one point I went on radio, and this is actually the first time I've done that in 16 years. I went into the radio studio and I told my listeners, guys, usually you would hear Lex is a happy person, but today I'm not happy. I'm also scared. I'm feeling uneasy. I don't know what's going on, you know? And that's how I was genuinely feeling. And I went on air and I said that because really I didn't want to go up and show like, okay, I'm so happy today, because I really wasn't, you know? And so it really had to connect emotionally with my listeners. I think that this is the year that I've been able to build the best bond with my listeners. I mean, they have stuck to the radio because you wouldn't say that, well, I'll say there are not much options for them. So they were stuck to the radio with you. They went with you along the line. Like they listened to you, every detail of it. You know, they were stuck with you like that. And so I appreciate the bond that COVID brought. But believe me, it was totally difficult. It was really challenging emotionally and executing that task as well. So that's actually what I'd say about the effect it had on my radio. So aside that as well, of course, I do events. I'm an MC, and events were shut. Also, of course, you know, you don't get to do the other things that you do and you enjoy as well. So it has been, I would say, the most challenging year of my radio career.
All right, so Don, let me bring you in here. In your opinion, who are the two artists you think took advantage of this pandemic? Who do you think really worked, despite everything, who do you think really worked hard in the year 2020?
In fact, I would want to limit it to three.
Okay.
The top three.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sako, the Black Love virtual concert. You know, he started this, but unfortunately, his crowd, according to the website hostess, shut the website down. That was some great disappointment for people, but at least he took advantage of it. And Shatta Wale and Stumbo and the Asasi Town Clash also took advantage of this. They really made some mileage for themselves, and they got their fans very active on Facebook and other social media pages. And you could tell by the numbers, 15K, 20K live views, you could tell that at least they enjoyed some great leverage out of this. And I believe that it was limited to only them. To be very honest, it was limited to only these three artists. They were able to take advantage of it. And because of their huge social media presence, that's why initially I talked about the fact that other artists need to emulate this. I know it's not easy to have people follow you, but they have to also do some tricks. Wherever they're going to get a trick done, I do not know. But you need people to support you, people that can follow you. Because if you want to get into the virtual world and you don't have any fan base who would want to die for you, who want to buy data and see you, then you're as good as dead. And I believe that most artists fell in that category. Apart from those who were doing small gigs. I know the likes of Kwame Using were having small gigs at small venues, and they were also doing what they had to do with limited crowd. They also took advantage of it. But then if you're not that hot, I don't think anybody would come out during these very serious times to want to patronize what you do, unless you have that market following. So I believe that just a few of our artists were able to take advantage of this pandemic and shine on social media.
Be disagreeing with you somewhat, Sadiq?
Yeah, I mean, I think that a lot of them put in some bit of efforts and things here to try to stay afloat and maintain visibility. But for all of them, we've still not experienced that deliberate strategy to ensure that it has or increases the fortunes on their streams or the activities, let's say. You know, but obviously, I think that the three artists that have really shown some glimpses of really ready to step up to the plate are Kiddy, Kwame Eugene, and to some extent Medical.
Okay.
Within the year. I mean, I saw how Kiddy, for instance, Kiddy shot a video for his Say Cheese. He shot a home video. Where everybody, you know, at the height of Corona, when everybody was undecided, they shot a home video with a phone for Say Cheese, take a picture. When nobody was in, so that was innovative at that particular time. And that's also something that we've experienced in a long time in the space here. That was innovative. I mean, I've seen how back-to-back hits from them. Kwame Eugene, for instance, that's about what? He has one big hit with Open Gate, and then obviously there is the one with No Darling, which is so far the biggest runaway hits of the year. And then obviously on Happy Day. Then you look at Medical, and look at Medical's big hit song with La Hustle, and then what he's been able to do. This is within Corona when everybody was not clear how promotions and everything was going to be like. And then obviously he featured on Akobam. And then, but Medical has managed to keep the buzz and visibility on himself throughout the year from all the antics. I mean, he's run out like our runaway headliner of the year in terms of buzz and news. He and his wife, the content and the news that they put out from February when they said they were going to split to when they married, and after they married, look, their marriage alone and the supposedly fainting was content for media news for like 3 more weeks. Beyond that, Medical is beginning to assert himself as a powerhouse in terms of getting the talkability and instigating it. These 3 top musicians, I mean, for me, they've always been doing the usual, but these guys really put in something to ensure that they maintain the visibility. They give us back-to-back hit, more hits even than these 3 top musicians that we're talking about. And so for me, that was an exciting point for me to see that, okay, finally these young guys are also thinking, because there's one insight that we need to understand. And I see that in industry, they often say, it is not the fanatics alone or the fan base that you've built that drives that massive stream. Other than that, King Promise, Kwame Eugene and co, without that recognizable fan armies, will not be getting more streams on their songs than these guys within a year. Question. No. Or Rema from abroad, who doesn't have a recognizable fan army in your country, will not be getting more streams than your big acts. What does that tell you? Of course, it's a good marketing tool to have these fanatics to be making noise for you and stuff like that, even if they have multiple fake accounts to be able to do that. But most importantly, beneath that and the subjective work, these 3 musicians, young musicians, Kiddy, Kwame Eugene, and particularly Medical, have been brilliant thus far within the year. All right, Noella, you talk too.
I think I agree with Sadiq, with Kiddy and Kwame Eugene. I saw them perform at so many virtual concerts, even the ones that were organized by government. They performed at it, and so for me, they made good use of the time. They adapted quick to the pandemic and what it stopped us from doing normally. And another artist that I think we've all sort of closed our eyes to him, I mean, if I can say, is Amirado. During the pandemic, I mean, he birthed a beautiful concept, Tinsem, where he talks about some of the topical issues on social media through rap. And he's consistent. He's been doing it over and even up till today. He still does it.
I can't forgive myself for not thinking about Amirado. And then, okay, there's one exciting thing also Sarkodie did at the height of the pandemic. Remember behind the hits. I mean, obviously, obviously it was a spin-off or it was a spin-off of Versus, I mean, which was happening across the world. It was nothing new, but it was still brilliant that somebody had to tap into something that was trending across the world to try to make an impact. Even though it was short-lived, it was that impactful also for him. It was innovative.
Okay, so I want us to wrap up the COVID and showbiz conversation with Lexus. As your entertainment show, you're always playing music. Do you think we had enough hit songs this year? Lexus,
well, not as much as we would have had if we didn't have COVID. I got to be honest with you. Okay. But like the other guys are saying, you had the artists live up to it. I mean, they talk about Medical, they talk about Kiddy, Kwame Eugene. I also need to emphasize that the likes of Sarkodie and Shatta Wale consistently engaged their social media following, because now they had to deliberately put themselves out there. So we can't overlook the virtual concerts that they put together. To be honest with you, we would have had a lot more hits this year. I think that the music scene was a little flat, this year. And honestly, so. We would have had a lot more active, busy, there are new talents across the globe, and a lot of them had to now chart their path on social media. So you see the likes of Amrado, like Noella was saying, who charted something absolutely beautiful and new, and it wouldn't have probably happened if there was no corona, you know. But we a lot more people. I think the who had actually understand corona made things slow. So people didn't really know what was going to happen. Okay, let's lock down. Let's see what's going to happen after that. So people were really unsure, and so it's stalled development. It's stalled progress. It stalled the creativity. But we still had people who were sticking out to make music and all. Of course, some of them, they didn't have to travel the world to make the music. They would have loved to, but they sat in their homes and created the pieces, the likes of Kitty, who did a video from home, a home video. A few other people also shot home videos and stuff like that.
Okay, so Noella wants to say something about what you just...
I think to an extent I disagree with Alexis, because not to undermine the works of Sarkodie and he mentioned another artist like Stonebwoy. Yeah. I mean, they did great during the pandemic, but you know, they're big. And so once they do something, we sort of, if you like, blow it out of proportion. But these youngins like Amrado, they really put in the work. And you see what Amrado did. If someone like Sarkodie, it was really innovative. And if the likes of Sarkodie did it, it would be huge. But because it's Amrado, we really don't really
pay
want
attention to it.
Exactly, you know. So not to undermine what Stonebwoy and Sarkodie did, but for me, I think I'd give it to these three youngins.
Okay.
It was refreshing.
Yeah.
I mean, the top three guys have not been brilliant within the year. They've been themselves. They've been like how they've been operating within the last few years. And so when they do that, you would always get the talkability here and there. But if you want out of the box thinking, innovative thinking that took advantage of the situation, it's these three young guys. Kitty, Kwame Eugene, Medical.
And Amrado.
And Amrado.
Yes. Okay.
Amrado.
All right, so we have some 12 minutes left. I want us to talk about the biggest stories in showbiz, very quick. The Don, let's start with the VGMA Artist of the Year, Kwame Eugene. There was some controversy surrounding that because, you know, Shatawale and Stonebwoy weren't part of the category. Let's touch on that. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, I believe that lots of people disagree because they believe Sarkodie did a lot during the year under review, and Sarkodie was also nominated in that particular category.
Yeah.
But then again, some also believe that Kwame Eugene was given a consolation prize, so to speak, simply because the previous year, people argue that since Shatawale and Stonebwoy were kicked out, automatically the third person in line should have been pronounced the Artist of the Year, which many thought was Kwame Eugene. And I believe that Sarkodie is a very big brand. Anything he does must be huge. Now, Kwame Eugene took advantage of, I would say, his brand being a growing brand and was able to, in fact, he was almost everywhere trying to do something small on small stages, virtual concerts here and there. And if one will aggregate all the kind of activities that Kwame Eugene did, I believe it's just fine that we gave this to him. I know some people disagreed with it, Joe, but I also feel that Kwame Eugene, should have taken it, and he took it because he did his bit, and I believe we must also support the upcoming artists. Now, I quickly want to chip this in.
Yeah.
I know Sadiq's agenda. Yeah, he's sort of trying to bring up the new artists. It's because of the Free Music Award. That's why he's doing that. What he's saying, because the question Mark asked was about the best. He didn't ask about those who were struggling to be among the best. So Sadiq, for me, I don't see where the argument came in, because he talked about the best, and for me, the best were those. But you are trying to talk about people who are doing their best, and yes, it's true, they did their best to shine, but they couldn't outshine the top three. You cannot tell me they outshone them. For me, it would be a lie if you try to put that. You may be doing some PR to get people to support your Free Music Awards. That's cool. But looking at the facts on the ground, that's where Legislative also comes in, that let's not try to discount the kind of effort those guys put in. Of course, they are leading our team. I'm very happy you mentioned the likes of Medical, etc. But don't forget that radio also did a lot of promotion for them. Yeah. It was not only social media. Don't get it twisted, Sadi. It wasn't only social media. People were home and they were listening to bangers from radio and Medicals Lawu, I'm using Open Gate, and it helped. How many people go into the cyber world to even check on these videos?
So Don, let's hear from Sadiq.
Don, there's something you need to consistently improve upon. It's not fair to just try to be controversial every time. It is not a personal thing. You like to, out of the blue, begin to look at it. I've been invited here to have a conversation. I'm going into it. It's either you are discussing that in merit, or when you begin to personalize it, it becomes unfortunate. It looks as that, I mean, this is not being controversial anymore. I am speaking on the basis of my insight. It's a different thing if you are taking my insight on. Take the insight on. I've made a point. Take the insight on as much as you want to do, but don't personalize it. You know, I get it that you are used to just being controversial and saying, make a jabam, typical you. I mean, but going into 2021, yes, I know you're looking for the content, you're looking for the news. This is some of the things you need to stop. Stop personalizing some of these things. It is opinions that we're sharing. Take the opinions on, make the most out of it. You can disagree, but don't do these things. You enjoy it, it's fun. I'm sure by now you're sitting there and saying, chala jabam, I have to say, it is not 2021 for somebody who is going to 50. You don't do these things, don't. Stop these things. But going forward, take on the objective, take on the things that we've said. I've said things. I've said that, okay, these guys, we have not said that they outshone them. No, I'm not sure anybody had that. Yeah. I was saying that if you're looking at a certain level of out-of-the-box thinking and taking advantage of the situation, these four musicians that I've mentioned, Kidi, Kwame Eugene, Medical, and then Amerado, have been cool. But Don should stop behaving like a fanatic. You are not a fanatic. You are an on-air person and you're becoming an authority. At least you've been here for this far. You are in your late 40s. You need to stop these things where people share opinions and it's about them. It is not about me. Other than that, why am I here in the first place? Yeah. It is about the opinions that we're sharing. You share the opinion, even if I disagree, I'll make an analysis of it. Do it. Let's make that intellectual argument and let's all move on. That's how to build industries. This behaving like a fanatic of like a jabam and enjoy. No. That's somebody in your 40s. You shouldn't be doing that, Don.
All right. Okay. So let's move on. Lexus Bill, you're an ambassador, right, of certain brands. We know that the FDA did ban some celebrities endorsing betting companies. Tell us if you think that this was the right way to go about it.
I got to be honest with you, I don't think it was. Yeah, there's the morality argument and all. Maybe I am, I'm going to take this position because I'm in the public eye and I've personally had engagements with some of these brands, hoping to, activate for them. I do influencing on social, on digital, and all of that. And so I personally also came in contact with some of these companies, the betting companies, some of the alcoholic beverages, because they also ban celebrities from endorsing or doing influencing for alcoholic beverages and all. I get their point. I get, the regulations that they've put out there. And of course, we've got to live by them. If you ask my opinion, I think it's misplaced and it needs to be looked at again because, globally, people are doing it. Maybe you'd say what's good for Ghana is not good for the globe, but I don't think the demerits of celebrities endorsing these or probably pushing them out there are so much so that we need to totally ban celebrities from engaging with them. We saw what happened in the pandemic, actually, when celebrities were banned from endorsing the alcoholic beverages. Some of these local companies had to engage the services of people from outside, from Nigeria. I think some brands took up a lot of celebrities from Nigeria to endorse their brands. And what happens is all the content that they churn out from these other jurisdictions eventually end up on social media, which doesn't have any jurisdiction. It means it's a global thing. And your people who are following them or the local people who you're trying to protect from these endorsements get to see it anyway. So it's really hard. It's a tough conversation. I know it's always going to be debatable because there is the morality conversation and there is all of that why the FDA decided that maybe celebrities shouldn't endorse alcoholic beverages, or the gaming commission says celebrities shouldn't endorse betting companies and all. Betting itself, I personally have a problem with because, of course, it's now becoming very addictive and it needs to be checked. it could be allowed for celebrities to have these engagements within certain limits. I've not really thought through the limits to know that, okay, these are the limits they can go, or these are how the engagements could be done. But I think that it can be done without necessarily saying outright all celebrities should not engage with betting companies or alcoholic beverages.
Okay, I hear you there. Because of time, we're going to have to, share our last thoughts on this. 2021, Noel, I'm going to start with you. How do we enter as an on-air personality entertainment presenter on the ground? How do we enter? How do we shift? How do we take advantage of the pandemic?
I mean, we're entering with an open mind. Thanks to COVID-19, the pandemic, we've been able to explore certain things that we never thought we could explore. I mean, today we have, shows being organized virtually, which is a good thing. Those are some of the good things COVID has taught us. And it's quite sad that it had to take a pandemic for us to realize some of these things. And I hope and pray that it doesn't take another pandemic for us to explore another bit of us. So, let's keep adapting to new things. Let's not box ourselves. Let's explore, let's go wild, and be cautious in the new year.
Oh, okay. Let me go to the Don. The Don, some last few words from you. How do we enter 2021? How do we take advantage of the pandemic as the entertainment industry?
I believe that we just need to conform to these new social media aspects of these Zoom exercises, even though they have their bad side. Because, for instance, I was trying to defend myself and I was mute. I couldn't stop because those in the studio took an upper hand. So for me, some of these new methods also have their disadvantages we must look at. I don't know, because I'm not too happy about what Sadiq put out. He equally did say he was accusing me of doing by bringing my... You couldn't have gone that angle. I mean, what you did was actually wrong. But anyway, moving forward, I believe that we must learn to strike a balance. I mean, the moderators of such platforms must be able also be very quick to notice those on the other side to be able to comment on when they want to be defensive of whatever we said about them. Because really, I put myself stuck in a box right here at home, and I couldn't.
Okay, so Alexis, we have like 2 minutes left. Just give me, how do we enter 2021 as the entertainment industry? How do we make it better?
I think globally is thinking digital now. And 2020 has given us an opportunity to innovate, to think outside the box, to chart new paths. So everybody is now thinking of creating content for digital. And so I think companies, individuals, entertainers, I mean, we the personalities as well, we need to come up with very innovative ways to put our content out there. And if we have been doing a lot of engagement on social media, and this year has had my biggest growth when it comes to social media following and engagement. And that's because really that's the way to go. So whatever content that I'm producing on radio or on TV, sure that my engagement with the online community is big. And that's what companies, corporate bodies, individuals, personalities, entertainers need to be big, because really that's the future.
Okay. All right, thank you so much. That is Lexus Bill, Drive Time show host on Joy FM. We also had the Don, also Prince Chega, who's a entertainment pundit. Sadiq, we won't take your final words.
Yes. So for me, okay, yes, okay.
Oh, 30 seconds.
Okay, I think that just for us to all strive to do better and take a certain deliberate strategy to impacting and enabling industry as players in the industry and creating a more mutually beneficial industry for all of us. All
right, so that was Sadiq, who is the CEO of 3 Music Awards, and we had our very own beautiful Noella Karanyeli, who is an on-air personality on Joy FM, on Hits FM, and on Joy News. All right, thank you so much, lady and gentlemen. And that's how we end the special edition of Joy News Interactive. We were doing a Showbiz review of 2020 and how we can change and the lessons we've learned during the pandemic and how we can enter 2021 as an entertainment industry successful. Thank you so much for watching. My name is Mapita CBD. You know how to join the conversation on Facebook, Twitter and Instagram. We're Joy News on TV. We also stream live on YouTube. We are Joy News on TV, DSTV 41 and GoTV 144. Daniel Dadzi is up next with Joy News Today. Enjoy.